Hey, what's up, Young Kings? Time for your more motivation. Decided to jump in this morning just to kind of finish up the self-discovery within the career. But before I do, just got back from working out. Um, my computer's signing off, but um, need to get back into a consistent workout pattern, like when I was away at school. I did do a fitness test, but daily I wasn't working out. So getting back on there, I did do that body assessment, body mass index, and according to the Army standard, I'm obese. So definitely, I don't think I'm obese. I think I'm in pretty good shape. I run a lot, I work out, but my weight is up there, so pretty thick, big boned it, them big guns. But anyways, I'm about 212 pounds. Well, not about, that's what I weigh. So I want to get back. I'm gonna get down to like about 190, 195, 192, so about 20 pounds. Do it gradually, and I think most of all, I got to win outside of the gym because my eating habits is bad. So about to go on an alternate eating habit and trying to alter my diet and my calorie intake so to be more balanced. But according to the Army, um, I'm supposed to be able to weigh like 179, 180, between 179 and 184. And man, I probably look like a crackhead if I weigh that much. But so I'll meet it halfway. I'll come down to the 190s and try to do that. So it's going to be a lot of intention because I already work out, as I mentioned. So what I got to start doing is reducing my calorie intake. But last night, after I got out of work, because I did work last weekend, so I came straight back from to school and went right back to work on the weekend. But last night I watched the Super Bowl, just sitting home alone watching the Super Bowl, and I was reflecting over the Super Bowl as I watched that because obviously I'm a Michigan fan, and Tom Brady, he's that guy. So I was just reflecting over the greatness over his career, and because he just joined a new team and was able to take them to the Super Bowl. So I just was reflecting about his championship mindset. So that would probably be the title of this is the championship mindset, because Tom Brady, if those who know who watch football, played quarterback in Michigan, wasn't highly rated coming out of college. He dropped down into the sixth, seventh round that he was drafted. So he wasn't a number one pick overall. He didn't have all this hype around him. And he ended up going to, forgot the first team, but he ended up eventually settling in New England. And it wasn't until someone got hurt, I think it was even Brees got hurt, and then Tom Brady stepped in those shoes and never relinquished his starting position from that and won 6 championships with New England. And when he won championship with New England, it was always an asterisk by his name, as though the coach was the reason, Bill Belichick was the reason he was winning. And even in New England, they didn't surround him with a lot of talent. Tom Brady made a lot of people millionaires by making them look better than they actually were, by putting them in positions to be successful. And, he did have a little talent throughout his tenure there. He did play with Randy Moss, Rob Gronkowski, and, Aaron Hernandez, who's, had his issues. But so he did have some talent, but not a lot of talent around him. And he still managed to win 6 Super Bowls. So coming out of college, like I said, he wasn't drafted high. He was looked at as someone that was just going to be a game manager, so to speak. But the reality of it is like he went above and beyond that. And, towards the end, he was getting older. He's 43. So towards the end of his time in New England, people were starting to think that he was washed up. Like he didn't have it. Like it was time for him to retire. I remember about 4 or 5 years ago, New England drafted a new quarterback, Jimmy Garoppolo, as kind of a preparation for Brady's replacement. And Brady wasn't having it. He's like, hey, I still got 5, 6 years left. I still got many more years left of playing. And they had some disagreement about that. And Jimmy Garoppolo ended up being traded over to um, he being traded to San Francisco, because Brady still had that championship mindset, like, hey, I'm still playing. And so he got through that endeavor, and it seems like his value started to decrease in New England eyes as the order he got, and came to a point where they thought it was time to move on. So um, he ended up just last year signing with Tampa Bay. And so it was like towards the end, like his value in New England eyes, it was like, hey, we can just throw somebody else in there and they can take the team. And because Belichick is the one who's the mastermind behind winning. He should be able to win with anyone. So, long story short, off season, he goes to Tampa Bay, and New England gets Cam Newton. Cam Newton's talented and all, but he's no Tom Brady. So it gets exposed. New England doesn't even make the playoff. And it was looking like Brady was struggling over there in Tampa Bay as well. So, and you got to realize this is an MVP. He already got 6 championships, and he goes to Tampa Bay, and it's Super Bowl or bust. And it was kind of rocky at the beginning of the season. They won some games, but they lost some games too. And I think about midway through, they end up being 7-5, and they had lost to Kansas City, the team they just beat in the Super Bowl by 3 points. But after that loss, they went on a bye week and they made some adjustments, and they haven't lost again. And I started to look at my life, and I said, I am Tom Brady. Like, not to be arrogant, but I consider myself a GOAT. But the reality of it is, you are Tom Brady. There's greatness in you. Like, there's people around you, even though you're MVP, that are not valuing you to the extent that you need to be valued. They say, well, you're getting too old, you're too this, you're not that. It's time for us to move in a different direction. But the reality of it is, you got to have a champion mindset. And that's what I recognized about Tom Brady, because the team, New England, stopped valuing him. But when he got to Tampa Bay, the people there weren't used to winning. They valued him, and they looked at him like, hey, and their whole mindset started to change. Like, he started to change the culture of the organization to a point where they were believing in him, and they elevated their game as well. Now, they always had a great defense, and I would argue that defense in the Super Bowl was more than MVP than Tom Brady himself. But the reality of it is, by having someone there like that on their team, they started to believe they were champions too. They started to act in accordance with their preparation for the game, and how they went about their daily activities and managing the games and making sure that they did the little things right. So when you get somewhere in an environment, you got to make sure like that you valued, because when you valued, it makes a whole difference. It makes a whole difference in attitude. This same Tampa Bay team last year paled in comparison. I mean, I don't think Tampa Bay made the playoffs last year. But to go from where they were, and you add in one player, Tom Brady, but you got to realize talent attracts talent. Like, when he came, he brought in Rob Gronkowski, who was one of his last Super Bowl team 2 years ago. And, so he's like, hey, come out of retirement. I'm going to make this run. And, they was thinking he was washed up and that he was too old and he lost his step and everything. And in a few games, he wasn't a big factor in it. But in the Super Bowl, he got the first 2 touchdowns from a guy who just came out of retirement. They was washed up and wasn't going to contribute. So they had written him off. And then you look at, Antonio Brown was been bounced around the league, written off, and, discouraged. I mean, he has had some off-field antics that had led to people making judgments and stuff on him. But they try to make it a life sentence. Like, hey, he didn't have any more use. But this, usefulness. But this guy is extremely talented and gifted. And I pray, he does capture this momentum and it projects him into a different sphere in his success. But was out of the league. And it was Tom Brady to say, hey, but even when he was in his last year at New England, he brought, Antonio Brown on, and Antonio Brown messed it up by, having some domestic issues and was kicked out of the league. So he wasn't able to stay with Tom Brady. But then, and he was out of the league and no other team wanted to take him on. So when Tom Brady got to Tampa Bay, he brought Antonio Brown in and said, hey, come on, this is what we're doing. And once again, Antonio Brown caught a touchdown pass in the Super Bowl. So it's just like there's a lot of people. It was a lot of parallels in there for young Kings to, if you look at that game, a lot of people was written off. Fournette, the running back, he wasn't highly rated. I mean, his stock was started to diminish. And you get around Tom Brady and he just elevated his game. So my message to you young Kings is like, are you elevating the people around you? Are you surrounding people that will be elevated, that can elevate you? And I notice, like, even the analogy that I'm going through is like, this is a pandemic year. So the people that were watching the Super Bowl there in person was reduced. It's a pandemic, so it's got social distancing and everything. So a lot of times when you change up and you go to a different team and stuff of that nature, you may lose some friends. It's a pandemic have a pandemic for all the haters, all the naysayers, all those that are not on your team. Put them in a pandemic, get your social distance from them so you can, do what you do and just let them observe how you maneuver, and then they can come back and talk about it. So, and to talk about that, and I'm gonna transition. My mind is just, I was watching this game and just like things was going through my head. I was gonna do a video last night, but I've been trying to increase my bedtime. So, trying to get more sleep because that's a part of my rest plan, and my wellness plan is to get more rest. So I didn't do it yesterday. I figured I'll wait after my workout. But speaking of halftime, there's going to be a lot of people waste all week talking about the weekend. Think about that. They're going to waste all week talking about the weekend. And there's going to probably be a plethora of memes and stuff of the weekend and his performance and what he had on and this and that. And I'll tell you this, it'll be people that are not successful that will be throwing indictments about, hey, he looked like a drunk Morris Day or this and that, or a cross between Prince and Michael Jackson or whatever it may be, or Bruno Mars and all. There's going to be kind of a lot of memes around there. But the reality of it is that man winning. I mean, leading up to the Super Bowl, the commercials they had with him in there, and most people got to pay to go to the Super Bowl. And those tickets are like $3,000-$4,000 to start with. This dude is getting paid millions of dollars to perform at the Super Bowl. And now people are going to try to make fun of him and like make him a meme or try to make it. And it'll be people that's, irrelevant. So don't spend all week talking about the weekend. Get the lessons from that. It's time for you to win, because even when you're winning, people are going to talk about you. They're going to try to make something to say, like, you didn't do this, you're not as good as this person, the last person did it better, and this and that. That's irrelevant. You still winning. And regardless if they accept it or not, they talk about it or not, enjoy your victory. Because I know I got my Tampa Bay, and I don't spell it with the Y. I spell it B-A-E. I got my Tampa Bay, so I'm on a new team. I'm going to win me a championship because it's more about my championship mindset. But anyways, I want to get into the last part of these questions for career on self-discovery. We're still on that. I mean, I'm going to try to wrap it up here soon, but we still got to get through self-discovery within the family, and then we may go into your educational setting. But this is the last part of the career. So the question for this is like, what skills do I need to improve on? Like talking about in your career field. For me, I definitely need to improve on my writing skill, my writing format, and proofreading papers and emails and stuff like that. So I'm getting to a point now where my mind can grasp information. It can present it orally. But when it comes to written format, I need to be more disciplined and doing proofreading. So I'm getting to a point now where I have to print whatever I'm reading and then go through it word by word and slow it down. In order for me to do that, that means I got to be able to get my work done in advance because I know that I got that extra layer of quality control that I need to go through. So to be able to print something and go word for word, take a break from it, come back, because my mind makes up the gaps in what I want to say versus what I actually wrote down. So I know what I want to say. So my mind will start filling in. And when I'm reading through it, it'll start reading over errors. So I need to make sure that I take back. But what do you need to work on? Because we're not perfect. There are areas in our life that we can improve on. One of the areas I just mentioned earlier is my fitness. Like, I'm in shape, but I'm not in great shape. I'm in good enough shape to go run, 6, 7 miles, 14 miles, 15 miles. I can do that. But I think a holistic health approach, there's another level of fitness that I can go through, and that's going to be my winning outside the gym on my diet, on the times I eat. Sometimes I drink too much alcohol at night and stuff, and all that contributes to deterioration of your body. So I'm going to start appreciating my tempo. So my writing and my fitness level are things that I can improve on. So figure out what are some skills you need to improve on. What is my definition of success? So you got to identify what it is that you define success as, because that will determine your end state and determine which way you go. Me right now, I probably would change that because I'm already successful, and it's not an arrogant statement. But I think right now my emphasis is not necessarily on success, but on significance. Because you can be successful and be insignificant. But at the same time, you can be significant, and that is quite successful. So I'm going to try to pair my significance with my success. That's why I don't really trip over that there's only a few people watching these videos, because I'm not into the quantity of it. I'm into the quality of it. And so numbers are never going to discourage me, because I don't get into this to try to get paid or monetize my channel or anything like that, trying to get anything from it. I'm here trying to give something to it. So I'm more transitioning into significance and making a lasting impact. And a lot of these videos probably won't be appreciated until my breath cease, until I no longer cease to exist on this world. And I pray that to be a long time down the line, and they have a large catalog of things to refer back to. But the reality of it is like, you need to define what that is for you, because that will start shaping the direction in which you need to go. How do I define work-life balance? I realize myself that I need to do a better job now with work-life balance, because initially I was grind, and I would spend months, years away from home, out there trying to chase a dream. And I need to be more balanced in that. So I'm at a place now where I need to be more selective about different assignments I take and different things I do to try to create that balance. Because when you get to your 40s and stuff like that, it won't say that your time that you have remaining, it starts to creep in your head like, oh, okay, all right, I'm about halfway through, or a little over a halfway mark. Like, what do I do with this last half of my life? It's essential. I don't want to waste it. I want to be intentional about it. So that work-life balance will help you start monitoring that. When you're in the 20s and in your 30s, you think you're going to live forever. But as you get to your 40s, and I'm 45 now, you start looking at, okay, I see what I've done already. This is where I want to go. So that work-life balance is going to be essential. Do I consider myself to be purposeful? I do. I'm very intentional about the things that I do, about my thoughts, about my actions. But I think I can even take that to another level. And that's going to be the same thing with being purposeful about getting in better shape, being purposeful about increasing my writing and doing better in my writing, being purposeful about personal relationships, being personal about people I engage with. So that's what you need to do. Do you consider yourself purposeful? Are you distracted? Like I said before, some people are going to spend all week talking about the weekend. And I'm not just talking about the Super Bowl performance, but some people will waste Monday through Thursday waiting for Friday and Saturday. But your success is going to be dealt, really largely what you do in that Monday through Friday or whatever your work week is. So don't just waste all week looking at the weekend. You need to be purposeful in how you spend your time. There's more to life than entertainment. You got to get down to a place in life where you can just have that balance. And it goes back to the work-life balance. You can't be so out of balance where you're just all entertainment, and that's where your resources go. That's where your energy is going, and then you're too tired to do anything else. You're too tired to go to school. You're too tired to read a book. You're too tired to write in a journal. You don't have time to invest in your mental health. You don't have time to invest in your self-care because you're all in entertainment. There's nothing wrong with entertainment. I mean, life is for the living, is to be lived. But at the same time, you need to be purposeful. And then the last question on the career side of things, it says, if I did not get paid, would I still enjoy doing my job? And that's a hard question because, you want to be valued for the things that you do. But I will say this back to Tom Brady, is that there were several times throughout his career in New England that he took less money so that other people on the team can get paid, or they can bring in different talent. So he was a selfless, type of individual that wasn't just about me, 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 me. Like Patrick Mahomes, and he's going to be a great quarterback. But that guy just got $500 million, one of the largest contracts ever. And it's going to come to a point where, at some point in time, where they may not be able to surround them with all the talent they have here now because they got to pay him. I think they're going to still be relevant over the next few years, but we know who the GOAT is. And it shows 7 rings and 10 Super Bowls. That's championship mindset. So you can win too. Like, what is your Super Bowl? Like, what is it that you want to do? What is your main event that you can go on? Because when it comes to that main event, everybody in Vegas was going with Kansas City. They were going with the one that had won it last year and was looking. They were saying this is the opportunity for Tom Brady to pass the rings over to a younger, more athletic quarterback. But Tom Brady was like, hey, I still got usefulness in me. And he still got the Super Bowl MVP. So, about to wrap it up. Last thing, like I said, would you still do it if you didn't get paid? I would. I enjoy what I do. I enjoy my job. So when you stop enjoying it, and I'm not saying all your jobs are supposed to be fun, because they call it work. They call it jobs. They don't call it fun. But if you can mirror the two, then that would be ideal. But don't go into a job thinking that it's supposed to be fun, because they call it work. You're supposed to be work. It's supposed to be about developing it. But in my instance, I actually enjoy what I do. That's why I actually come on and I share these videos with you. That's why I get involved in mentoring and development, because I believe my life should be a branch to help somebody else get, or a bridge, so to speak, to get them from where they are to where they need to be, so they can walk on my experience to get across that bridge and be better. Because that's the whole intent behind doing all these things. It's not only for me to be better. I could have been selfish and I could have buckled down and just did this stuff behind the scenes. And I have done that for 26 years of my military career. It wasn't until the last 10, 11 months that I started sharing some of the things that I have been doing behind closed doors. I didn't get on camera and just start doing this all of a sudden. I'm just giving you a glimpse into my life and who I am. Some will appreciate it. Others will talk about it. But once again, I'm like the weekend on the Super Bowl. I don't care if you like it, And the thing about that, he even spent some of his own money to put on the show. Goes to show you, you can't impress everybody. Somebody gonna talk about you regardless of how much energy you put out, how much positivity you do, how much money you give them, how much you try to entertain them. They'll make you a meme. So be well, young kings. Have a great day.